Hey there, this is Clay with modernlove.life, and this is the Relationship Inner Game Experience. Now, in this week's episode, I want to talk about how to get out of the friend zone. Now, we're going to be talking about the friend zone here, and it's a very complicated topic because there's a lot of different sorts of situations that you might end up in. But I want you to understand underneath all of this, fundamentally, you need to understand that once somebody is attracted to you, then they're pretty much always going to be attracted to you. And once somebody is not attracted to you, they're probably pretty much going to always not be attracted to you. Okay, barring any sort of massive physical transformation or any sort of massive emotional transformation or something like that, they're pretty much going to be static. Okay, so if you have been completely honest, completely forthright, completely transparent, completely open, just been completely yourself, no mind games, no trying to pretend to be an alpha male if you're not, or pretend to play hard to get if you're not hard to get, or something like that. If you've just been completely straightforward and somebody is not actually attracted to you, then there's pretty much nothing that you can do. Okay, I've seen a lot of people get hung up on individual guys or girls that just aren't into them, and they spend months or years even longing for this person, hoping that they somehow change their mind or something like that, without understanding that that person just fundamentally is not attracted to them. And that's nothing against you, that's nothing against them. It's just that not everybody is going to be attracted to you. No matter what you do, not everybody is going to be attracted to you. If you're a guy, there's nothing that you can do that's going to get every woman attracted to you. And if you're a woman, there's nothing that you can do that's going to get every guy attracted to you. And if somebody just fundamentally is not attracted to you, then again, there's nothing you can do because they've already decided that they're not attracted to you. And you just really can't do anything about it, right? And even if you could, you would have to be somebody that you're not. You'd have to put on some sort of act, put on some sort of facade, put a ton of energy into convincing them that you are someone other than who you actually are, which is going to be very mentally and energetically draining of you. And eventually, even if it does work and the two of you end up together, you're going to eventually reach a point where you just kind of relax, let your guard down, show who your true colors are to them, show your true colors to them. And if they get this sort of bait and switch thing going on where they thought that you were one way and it turns out you're another way, then they're going to be very disappointed, very frustrated, very angry, very upset with you, and they are going to leave you. Okay, so don't try to make somebody like you by being inauthentic, by being someone other than who you genuinely are. With all of this being said, if somebody is not attracted to you, there are a couple things that could be going on that you could do if you wanted to still get something going on between them. Okay, first of all, if you were in a relationship with that person before, if that person was attracted to you previously, but then the two of you broke up or something came in the way or something like that, and they're suddenly saying, yeah, I'm not attracted to you anymore, that's not the same thing, right? Again, assuming you haven't gone through some sort of big physical change or big personality change or something like that, right? If you're still more or less the same person, then they are still attracted to you. It's just that the mental baggage and the history between the two of you and what happened or what didn't happen is what's standing in the way. And all you have to do is just kind of clear out that baggage, clear out that history, and the attraction that's already there will come back and pull the two of you closer together. The attraction never went away. It's just that they can't feel it because of the history, because of the baggage. Okay, that's scenario number one. Now, the second scenario is if somebody is not attracted to you and you're attracted to them, and you just never have been completely honest and forthright with them. You've been inauthentic with them. You have been, maybe playing the nice guy card if you're a guy or something like that, which women generally don't find very attractive. We can talk about that some other time. But if you've been doing that the whole time, hoping that just being nice and pleasing and agreeable around her is going to get her to find you attractive and want to date you, but that's really not who you are, then being more genuine, being who you really are, expressing yourself fully, and not putting on this act around her could show her who you actually are and could actually cause her to become attracted to you. So that's one thing that you could do, is remove that inauthenticity. And same thing with you women, right? If you have been just really nice and accommodating and all of that with a guy, hoping that, if you just nod your head and say yes the whole time, he'll eventually think that you're attractive and want to go out on a date with you. And that's not who you really are, and you've just been too afraid to speak up, too afraid to voice how you actually feel or whatever, and you actually start doing that, he might actually start to see who you really are. He might find that attractive, and that can actually break that whole friend zone thing. So the whole friend zone thing, it can really only be broken if the two of you were in a relationship previously, and the attraction between the two of you never went away because it was just blocked by, baggage, negative feelings, something like that. Or if the only reason that they're not attracted to you is because you were never fully authentic, never really straight with them, never really open and forthright with your personality, with how you want to live your life, with what your values are, with what your thoughts are, with what your opinions are, with fully expressing yourself. And if that's the case, then doing all of those things can actually show them who you really are. And by actually showing them who you really are, instead of performing for them, essentially, performing for them, hoping that if you, are really nice or really happy, tell a good joke or something like that, that they'll really like you, that's fine if that's who you are. But if that's just an act that you're putting on, hoping that they'll like you, and you just suddenly start to become more genuine and authentic, they can actually see who you really are. And if they actually see who you really are, they might actually like that, because maybe you've just never given them a chance to actually like who you really are. So I hope that helps you understand the friend zone, and I hope that maybe helps some people out there realize that you can't get out of the friend zone by putting on an act, by hoping that you, pretend to be an alpha male if you're not, or pretend to play hard to get if you're not, or play mind games or something like that. That's not going to work. If somebody's just not attracted to you, they're just not attracted to you. And the best thing that you can do is to be 100% forthright, open, honest, and real with them, so they can actually figure out if they're attracted to you. Obviously, if you're inauthentic, obviously if you're putting on an act, if you're performing for them, they're not going to be attracted to that because it's inauthentic. And people don't like that. People aren't fundamentally attracted to inauthentic people. Okay, so with that being said, let's get into this week's questions from the students that are enrolled in our courses. Okay, this week we have a question from Vixen. Vixen writes in and says, is it all right to contact an ex when they haven't been talking to you about some significant life changes in your life? We kind of agreed to be friends, and a family member of mine is really sick, and I don't know if I should tell him or not. He hasn't been answering me for a while now, and I sent a text asking about being friends, which he didn't respond to. I'm seeing him, but I have seen him already probably by the time that this is posted. Thanks, Vixen. Okay, Vixen, so first of all, the way that you're opening up this question is it all right to contact an ex? This has me concerned because it seems as if you're asking for permission in order to do something when, as if there's like some sort of laws, like it's illegal to do this, or it's illegal to do that, or it's legal to do this, or whatever. And it's not that way at all. You can do whatever you want. You can contact him if you want to. You can not contact him if you want to. It's just that there's going to be consequences for these sorts of things, right? So just keep that in mind, is that you don't have to ask for permission to do anything. You can just do whatever you want to, as long as you're okay with the consequences. If you're not okay with the consequences, then maybe you need to rethink some things. But it's not as if, I'm some sort of judge that says, you cannot contact your ex because of this reason, or you must contact your ex because of that reason. It's ultimately up to you. It's entirely up to you. And I'm just here to offer you my opinion, but ultimately your actions are yours to choose or not to choose, and they're not mine to control for you, okay? So just keep that in mind. Beyond that, you say that you have kind of agreed to be friends, and a family member of yours is very sick, and you don't know if you should tell him or not. So there are a couple different things to keep in mind here. So first of all, I would consider letting him know if he was close to or attached to this family member. If this family member doesn't really mean anything to him, then I doubt that telling telling him would really evoke some sort of like major response on his part. It'd be like saying, hey, by the way, my, distant, long lost uncle is sick or something like that. That may or may not mean anything to him. I don't know. If it's having a big impact on you and the two of you did agree to be friends, then, that's something that you could go ahead and talk to him about, because it is having an effect on you and the two of you did agree to be friends, right? So that's definitely something that you could share. You could say something along the lines of, hey, I just wanted to let you know that my, I don't know, aunt so-and-so is sick right now, and I'm having a really hard time about it. Or, just give him some kind of update about what's going on, right? So you could absolutely do that. You say that he has not been answering you for a while now, and you sent him a text asking to be friends that he didn't respond to. Okay, so if he's not been responding to you for a while, don't get in the trap of looking at the future and saying that the future is going to be just like the past, that just because, he hasn't responded in the past, that he's not going to respond in the future, right? What you do want to pay attention to is the quality of the dynamic between the two of you, right? Because if you continue to, for example, oftentimes people will do this thing that I just call Robo Texting, where they kind of switch their brain off and they'll just send a text message like robotically once a week that's, like, hey, how are you? What is new? How is everything going with the thing you are working on? And they just kind of send it without even thinking, like every, Thursday or whatever. And that can be difficult for the emotional connection because it's decreasing the overall quality of the emotional connection, right? Because it's going unanswered, it's coming across as if you're way over-invested than they are, which is causing the social scales to sort of tilt, and it's causing you to seem extremely over-invested, for them to seem very uninvested. And when that happens, it kind of makes people feel weird, and so they want to pull away even harder, okay? So just be aware of that happening. But another thing that you mentioned here is that you did text him about being friends, which he did not respond to. So I don't know exactly what this means. I don't know what it means to text someone about being friends. Did you say something along the lines of, hey, I just wanted to let you know that I hope that we can maintain a friendship moving forward from here after this breakup. I really value you, blah, blah, blah. Or if you're, trying to say something like, hey, let's be friends. Or, hey, I just thought that it would be a good idea to get the record straight and say that we're friends. And I don't know exactly what you sent to him or the context of it or what you were asking. You say that he didn't respond to it, which makes me think that you were asking him something, because, sometimes if you just text something to somebody and there's no question involved, there's not a request for them to respond, sometimes they may not respond because they don't think that, they need to. Like if somebody's just texting you an article to read about some news thing, or if somebody's just texting you some sort of update or something like that, but there's no like actual request for like, hey, what do you think about this? Or hey, I hope you're doing well because of this thing that happened. Please tell me how it went, or something like that, right? Sometimes people don't believe that they need to respond if there's no actual request for a response from them. So definitely keep that in mind when it comes to all of this. Overall, though, just looking at this, I want you to know that it is okay to text your ex anything that you want to text them. I'm not saying this as some sort of like all-knowing guru or anything like that. I'm just saying this from one human being that has free will to another human being that has free will, that you have the power to do whatever you want to do, and you can go ahead and do whatever you want to do as long as you are okay with the consequences of doing that, right? So if you are, for example, approaching this family member that is sick as like, okay, this is great, this is going to be my in, this is going to be what's going to finally get him to respond to me, and it's like an ulterior motive, then that is going to come through in the energy behind whatever message you send to him. And he is going to somehow suspect that something is wrong about it, and it's going to cause him to pull away. Just be aware of that. But if this is like a genuine sharing of like, hey, this is something that's going on in my life, it's really bothering me, and like you're somebody that I believe that I can turn to for comfort, then that's another thing entirely. So just keep that in mind, okay? So Vixen, I hope this has helped you out, and if you want to share that you sent this to him, or if you told him about this when you saw him in person, please go ahead and do that next week, and we can talk about what happened with that and how it went. And, by all means, please feel free to give us a little bit more detail about like what you texted him, or some of the details about things like that, because oftentimes these vague things where it's just like, I sent a text message, but nobody responded. It's like, well, okay, well, if you sent a text message and there was no response to it, is it because you didn't ask for a response? Is it because maybe you phrased it in a way that made the other person not want to respond? Like if this is obviously an extreme example, but if you phrased it like, hey, you jerk, I just wanted you to know that da-da-da-da, then, yeah, somebody might not respond to that one because you called them a jerk, right? Or is there maybe something else that's going on? Because like we talk about when it comes to relationships and dating, is that everything is really about the emotional context behind all of that. So the emotional context is the most important thing to focus on. And if you're not paying attention to the emotional context, that is to say where they are emotionally, where you are emotionally, and how those two emotional states are interacting with one another into a dynamic, if you're not paying attention to that and you're focused on things that like don't matter, like, okay, there are some arbitrary set of rules, like you can text your ex if this happens, you are not allowed to text your ex if this happens, this is legal, this is illegal, or something like that, then that is a substitute for actually thinking. And I don't want you to have a substitute for actually thinking. I want you to actually think about things. I want you to actually be present in the moment. I want you to feel into the moment. I want you to be aware of your emotional state, of the other person's emotional state, and actually be able to create a dynamic between the two of you that is empowering, that is uplifting, that is rewarding, that is rich, that is fulfilling for both of you, okay? So with that being said, if you want to share more details, then you're, of course, welcome to do that next week. Okay, those have been our questions this week. If you like this video, please feel free to give us a thumbs up. And if you're not already, please subscribe to the channel so that you can receive updates and notifications when we publish new relationship inner game experiences like this one. And please also go down below and leave a comment letting me know what sorts of videos you'd like to see us make in the future. Anyway, this has been Clay with modernlove.life, and I hope that this has helped you improve your relationship inner game.